Welcome to the Everything Actioncast, the official podcast of everythingaction.com.
Hello and welcome to the Everything Actioncast, the podcast for the week of September 11th, 2023. I'm your host, Zach.
I'm your co-host, Chris.
And we got a bunch of stuff this week. Chris, you finally saw The Flash, so we'll dive into that later on in Show and Tell. But let's kick things off with another DC movie that we got a trailer for. The first trailer, Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom, which I think maybe like a week or two ago, I think a lot of people thought like this movie didn't exist in any like there was like no, because we had no footage. We had like literally one promo shot, and that was it for the entire thing. But we finally have a trailer. This is gonna be, I believe this is the final movie in the DCEU before we turn into the DCU. And hopefully kind of ends things on a high note, because it's been a very rough year for the DCU. It's been like a death gasp of a universe. Like Shazam: Fury of the Gods was a massive disaster on almost every level, and then the Flash, which we'll talk about later, was a box office disaster. Blue Beetle, I think, was a disappointment. Maybe not as big a disaster as the other two, but I mean, box office wide, still was not great. But yeah, hopefully, I think they're definitely pinning their hopes on Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. But it's apparently it's 4 years after the first Aquaman, and Arthur Curry is still the king of Atlantis, but he's also a father now. He's married to Mira, but then Black Manta shows back up, and he has the Black Trident, which is like a powerful kind of dark magic, like equivalent to Aquaman's trident, and he's using it to like destroy Atlantis and like destroy all the different kingdoms, and he wants to kill everyone that Aquaman holds dear, because like Aquaman killed his father. And then Aquaman has to team up with his half-brother Orm, Patrick Wilson, to go on some sort of quest to, I guess, the titular Lost Kingdom and find some sort of thing that they can use to stop Black Manta or fight Black Manta. And so it's like it can be like a buddy cop kind of like, or like a like Indiana Jones adventure with those two. Like I guess probably, I'm sure like they're gonna like learn to become friends throughout this adventure.
Brothers.
Yeah.
They're gonna get closer and then just be like, wow, we shouldn't have tried to fight each other 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, like, they have to show that Trident defeat like the sea monster from the first movie, right?
Like he uses it to like just wipe out the trench or something.
Yeah, the trench people, like,
or kill Dolph Lundgren or something.
I don't know if Dolph Lundgren needs to be killed, because he's just like a rival king, right?
Or he wipes out like the crab people.
Yeah, just like, you can't just show up and then just be like, all right, I've got this badass trident. It's like, oh, you can control the sea with that? Like, it has to be more than I have this like relic weapon. It's like, in this world of after all the movies we saw, like, aliens exist, and like so much other things besides the ocean is a problem now. Because I know the first movie, they're just like, hey, humans, take back all your garbage. That was their big thing.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm trying to see where Black Manta just shows up and he's like, cool, my turn. It's like, what are you going to do with this?
Well, I think they said it like enhances his powers, and then it's also, it's got some sort of like dark magic that is like, it almost destroyed all the kingdoms in the past, but they somehow stopped it, but now it's back.
But didn't like Shazam 2 Power of the Gods, didn't they have something that's like similar?
There was like well, Shazam was a mess because it was like 5 different things. but there was it was the Daughters of Alice, and they reformed the staff that Mark Strong used in the first movie, and then they were using that, and then they had like golden apples that they were planning to like create like their like whatever realm they came from. They were gonna destroy Earth and make Earth like their realm. You haven't seen Shazam yet, Chris, but it's a goddamn mess.
Oh,
Like,
is it worse than Flash?
Yes,
Oh my god.
because at least the plot kind of makes sense in the Flash. Like, the motivations and like the actual like plot machinations of like Shazam, Fear the Gods make no sense. Like, wait, you got to take this thing to do this thing to make, and then you're gonna turn this thing into that thing, and like I have no idea what the hell's going on. So hopefully Aquaman is more straightforward. Hopefully it's as fun as the first movie, because Aquaman is probably one of the best DCEU movies. And it's gonna arrive just in time for Christmas, December 20th, in theaters. So we'll have to see if it suffers the same fate as the other DC movies this year, or if Jason Momoa and the power of Aquaman can uh salvage a hit.
One more hit before it all
Yeah.
goes away.
I don't know if it's gonna come anywhere close, because the first movie was like a insane hit. Like, it made over $1 billion worldwide. I don't know if Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is gonna do that, but I mean, if it even does like half of that, I'm sure they'd be happy with it. But we'll see. And then also this week, we got the first trailer for the new Goosebumps Disney Plus show. So this is a new spin on the R.L. Stine classics. It's gonna be a 10-episode original series, and it seems like the premise is that Justin Long, who is like coming like a horror, like what's like the male equivalent, like a scream queen, because he's just like in like every, like,
Well, it's like a Hammer star. It's kind of like
yeah.
a Vincent Price or a.
He's been in so many horror movies recently. That's all. It's kind of like, seems like all he's been doing.
Hold on. Actually, let me look up. Let me see what's the male version of a Scream Queen.
But yeah, I mean, he was in Barbarian last year, and he was great in that. But he is playing a character named Nathan, who shows up in this town, Port Lawrence, and he's the new English teacher. And he moves into a house that has some horrible things happen in the past, and then he gets possessed by an evil spirit, and now he's possessed by this like evil teenage spirit that wants revenge on people. And
as you do.
Yeah, and so that's kind of like, and then this group of teenagers they have to like figure out how to stop that. And also, it seems like other things are happening as well. Slappy's gonna factor in at some point, because they find Slappy in like a grave, of course. And then it looks like there's like a Say Cheese or Die camera. I don't know if it's like the exact same camera, or if it's like basically the same premise as that. But there's definitely a camera.
It's like a legally non like.
I don't know why would you need to be legally distinct if you're using Goosebumps? Like,
I have no idea.
I'm sure it has to be the same. It has to be like the camera, and then it also looks like the Kukulak Doom is also, seems like it's gonna factor it in, or it's gonna be referenced, because like there's definitely a Kukulak with like that very distinctive bird that pops out of it. So, and I don't know if like the main plot is based on a specific book, but it seems like it's gonna be kind of just like the spirit of Goosebumps, and then like maybe references or like other like kind of things for some of the books are gonna show up in the show.
Interesting. Also, the male equivalent of a Scream Queen, Queen is Scream King.
Okay, so yeah, just like it's definitely a Scream King recently.
Yeah, Scream King is like a universal understood term.
Yeah.
I just didn't know. I don't really hear it, but apparently the king of Scream King is Bruce Campbell.
That makes sense. But yeah, Goosebumps. The one thing that stood out to me in the trailer too is that it seems like it's gonna be actually kind of, looks like maybe a little bit darker than you would expect. Like, it's not gonna be the like wacky Jack Black movies that we got recently. Although it is for the same guy, Rod Letterman, who directed the first Goosebumps movie, is one of the co-creators of the show, along with Nicholas Stoller, who like has worked on like some of the recent Muppet stuff. But it does look like it's going to be like a kind of like more darker, maybe a little bit scarier version, which should hopefully be good. It's
I
definitely.
still haven't seen the Goosebump movies, but
I haven't
isn't
seen.
there like a departure between the first and second one where it's
I
like a lore has to be kind of forgiven?
Yeah, I haven't seen the second one. I saw the first one. The first one was fine. It was wacky, but it had a lot of like fun Goosebumps references for like old school fans. And yeah, I don't know. The second one I think was like sort of because like Jack Black didn't come back. Like I don't think any of the characters from the first movie came back, but Slappy was still there somehow. And so it was like loosely sequelized to like the first movie.
Hmm.
I know. I think they're both on Netflix. Like those two movies are on Netflix because they're Sony movies. But this new Goosebumps show, five episodes are going to drop on October 13th, and then the rest of the 10 episode seasons are going to drop weekly after that. So they're going to drop half the season on October 13th, and then the rest of it will be next 5 weeks after that. And yeah, I'll probably check out at least the first couple episodes and see how it is. I mean, I think you and I are both huge like old school Goosebumps fans, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Like the Fox show, the books, all the ephemera.
I just didn't play the games.
I played the. I think I got a review copy. I think it's if you go back down the site in the Game Box archives. I think I played
One of them.
the
But, like,
tie-ins
was it
like
an FPS game?
yeah. Well, it was like first person. Yeah, and then I think the third stage you get like a gun, but it's not really. It's like a puzzle gun. It's not really a gun. But yeah, let's see if it lives up to the Fox show or all those like like the 90s kind of like renaissance of I don't know tween horror like Are You Afraid of the Dark and Goosebumps and whatever else was going on. So we also actually right after we recorded last week, so we just missed it by a day, but the first trailer for Monarch Legacy of Monsters came out, which is the new big Godzilla MonsterVerse Apple TV Plus show, which is going to be out in a couple weeks, I believe. I think it's sometime in October. And it's set in two different time periods in the MonsterVerse. It's going to be set. I think it's set kind of right after Godzilla 2014, the first movie in the MonsterVerse, and then 1950s era. So we're gonna get like. Actually, I don't think we knew before this trailer, but we're actually gonna get like John Goodman is coming back in some capacity as Bill Randa from Skull Island, and then Anders Holm from Workaholics is actually playing like a younger version of him in like whatever the 50s or the 40s or whatever the flashbacks are. And then we're also getting
Wait, so like he's familiar with Godzilla from back then?
Well, he was with Monarch. I don't know if they knew about Godzilla.
Yeah, Monarch. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I think they knew about Godzilla because there was like the footage from like the atomic test that they were like, oh, we tried to kill Godzilla with the atomic bomb and it didn't work.
It like pissed them off.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the thing that I the first movie introduced that there were multiple Godzillas, right?
I don't.
That like they've been or was it that he was the only one? And then because I know Kong versus Godzilla turned out they had a huge like generational feud.
I think. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think there's definitely has been like multiple like there's been like generations of Kongs. I don't know about I don't know if there's been like multiple Godzillas.
No, because it was like the floor thing had like Godzilla spikes, and then it was like when he had like the. Remember he built a weapon out of one.
Yeah, so yeah, there might have been it was like a tribe of Godzillas and a tribe of Kongs were like, and they've been like warring with each other for millennia or whatever.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, okay, it'd be cool in the show. It's like even though this is a Godzilla, it's not the Godzilla if he shows up.
Well, this is definitely the Godzilla because it's right after Godzilla 2014. So this is like right after he fights the Mutos in San Francisco. And then kind of in the aftermath of that, there's like a family that discovers that like their father was part of Monarch, and so they're like digging into Monarch, and then they run into Kurt Russell, who's playing Lee Shaw, who's a Monarch researcher agent, and then there's going to be flashbacks to the 50s where Wyatt Russell is going to be playing the younger version. So the son is playing the father, which is pretty cool. Both it's cool to have both of them in the same show playing the same character. And,
it is, though, but it's like they're not in movies together a lot.
No, yeah, and also just Kurt Russell in a Godzilla show. I mean, come on. And yeah, so yeah, we're gonna kind of explore multiple eras of Monarch and the MonsterVerse, and my hope is that Apple TV spent no expense, and like we're gonna get like a ton of Godzilla and monsters in this. I really hope like the first episode isn't just like loaded with Godzilla, and the rest of it's just like, well, we don't see the Godzilla's gone, we don't see him anymore.
We blew the budget on this.
Yeah. But I feel like Apple is not afraid to spend money on things, so hopefully they dumped a ton of money into this, and we'll get plenty of monster action throughout the whole season. But yeah, it's gonna debut November 17th on Apple TV Plus, so you can check that out when it comes out. I'm definitely gonna check it out. It's gonna be a very good holiday season, hopefully, for Godzilla fans and kaiju fans, because we got Godzilla -1 in December and this in November. So, and there's also a Gamera animated series on Netflix that just debuted a week ago too. So a lot of kaiju stuff for fans of that. If you're a giant monster fan. So we also this week got the first trailer for the next big Mike Flanagan Netflix horror show, The Fall of the House of Usher, which I believe is the 5th Mike Flanagan show on Netflix. And it's, as the title suggests, it's inspired by Edgar Allan Poe. But it's not just Fall of the House of Usher. There's other Poe influences as well. It's gonna be kind of a remix of a bunch of Poe stuff. Looks like there's gonna be Mask of the Red Death and The Raven and other elements of Poe throughout it. But it's a modern take on that Poe stuff. And there's a family that the Ushers run a pharmaceutical company, and then Carla Gugino shows up, and she's this vengeful spirit who is basically murdering them all one by one because of some sort of horrible thing they did in the past. It reminds me. It kind of seems like the family from Succession, but if they were getting murdered by a ghost or something.
It does seem like that. They all seem pretentious, and then they're getting their comeuppance.
Yeah. And and Mike Flanagan, he's got a bunch of his regulars are along for the ride. Henry Thomas is here, Bruce Greenwood, Kate Siegel, Annabeth Gish, Rahul Kohli, Zach Guilford, and then also Mark Hamill is co-starring. Will Fitzgerald, Mary McDonald, Malcolm Goodwin. And yeah, it looks like cool, Mike Flanagan horror. If you're into his style of horror, it looks like definitely living up to the other Netflix stuff. Lots of creepy visuals, lots of interesting characters. So October 12th is when this starts. So just in time for Halloween, you can dig into the new Mike Flanagan show. I gotta catch up on I still haven't seen Midnight Mass and some of the Midnight Club. I haven't seen either of those yet.
I've seen Midnight Mass.
It was good.
It's different. It's it's definitely a good vampire tale that is. It feels gothic and modern at the same time. It's got good characterizations of people who would understand what to do if some bad things happen. It has that Stephen King The Mist. It's very close to that.
That's why I heard it's basically Mike Flanagan, that's his take on Stephen King stuff.
Yeah. So it's good as a this is not a typical I mean, at any point this could have turned into two different directions, but because the series follows a bunch of different points of views, and it deals with a lot of personal growth in these characters that if they just focus on this one thing, it would have been like a movie. But because like they focus on everyone at the same time, it's a TV show because it's like all of it happening at once.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this kind of like Dread. Like it's a good show if you just don't want to feel good. I don't know. It's like
Yeah.
it's like not like, oh, I want to watch it more than once. It's like you watch it and you're like, well, I need to go like outside.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like it's good horror. Like it makes you think, and it's like, holy shit, what if you were in that situation? And it's not like, well, the first thing I would do is like be Blade or like I'd be some cool vampire. It's like very like, oh shit, like there's a situation I can't get out of it, and it's like very anti like I guess like modern horror. It deals with like very classic like there's this unstoppable force and you can't all you can do is survive. Like you can't like fucking find a stash of guns and it's like that's gonna solve it.
Yeah.
So I like it. Like like that's why I feel like the House of Usher is gonna be that, where it's like they just have to survive this evil as best as they could. Not like at the end there's a final like standoff between like a monster and like I don't know, some like bullshit relic anti-monster thing.
Well, think about Fall the House of Ushers. It seems like the Ushers deserve it because they're horrible.
Yeah.
So you're probably like rooting for Carlo Gugino just like horribly murder them all.
Which is fine. Like that's like a good horror thing. And like even Mike Flanagan, even like what was that other one, the werewolf one?
The werewolf one?
Uh didn't he do I thought there was a werewolf show on Netflix that was like House on Hill House? Hill House?
Hill House didn't have werewolves in it.
No, where
are you thinking of like oh crap, yeah, what the hell was in like it was like one of the first ever like Netflix original shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had nothing to do with that one.
I thought that was Mike Flanagan.
Hemlock Grove.
Hemlock Grove.
Yeah, that was not a Mike Flanagan thing.
Okay, because I was thinking like that's where it's just like it doesn't get action packed, but it's one of those like they didn't quite get the formula of Dread. It was more like, okay, like you start out normal and then as the show goes on you're like, fuck these people. Where if you come out swinging with like, check how douchey these people are, and you're like, yeah, all right, get bent, like family.
Yeah.
But even though a lot of the family is just like, how is everyone related?
I guess we'll find out, I guess. So, last trailer for the week is over on Prime Video. They're also celebrating Halloween. And they're going to have an original movie from Blumhouse on Prime Video on October 6th called Totally Killer, which is it's the latest in like Blumhouse's kind of like horror comedy sub genre, where they had the Happy Death Day movies, they had Freaky, now they have Totally Killer, which is Kiernan Shipka from Mad Men and Sabrina is a teenager in the present day, and then her mom survived like a slasher killer in the 80s, and so she's very worried about Halloween and like her daughter's safety and everything. But then the killer from the 80s like returns somehow and is like targeting Kiernan Shipka. But then she is trying to escape from him and ends up in a time machine. So it's just like out there somewhere.
Convenient carnival time machine.
And so it activates that she gets transported back to the 80s and runs into like her teenage mom. And then she's like, so then Kiernan Shipka is like, well, I'll try to prevent my this like killer from like his first killings in the 80s and save my mom and her friends from this killer. So it sort of has like that hot tub time machine vibe mixed with like a slasher movie.
I'm down for it. The trailer sold me on it.
Yeah, if it's have as fun as like the other like kind of Blumhouse like horror comedies, like because they've all been great. Like Freaky was great, the Happy Death Day movies are great. So I'm definitely excited for like another like one of those movies from them. And also, did you ever see or have you heard of like The Final Girls, Chris? That movie?
No, I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, this has that kind of like it has similar vibes to this, but that one like, kind of like had like this one seems like to be like much more goofier. That one kind of like actually had like a surprising amount of like emotional depth and heart to it because it's like this like
Really?
because it's like this like daughter like is the only way like she's like kind of like reunited or like kind of like bonding with her mom who's like this actress in this like terrible 80s horror movie. And also the premise of that movie was that they actually ended up inside the movie itself. It wasn't like time travel like back to the 80s. It was like they're transported through the screen of the movie theater into the movie.
Wait, what? That's what that was?
Yeah, like it's a screening for like, this movie that the main character's like mom starred in, but then like she and her friends get sucked into the movie, and then it's like they're like kind of like just observing this like movies because like they know the plot of what happens, but then like they're getting killed because like then the movie's like changing around them because they're in it now.
So it's like the Last Action Hero in a horror movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't I know that's like the gimmick?
hmm but yeah, this one is yeah, time travel back to the 80s, and then all the quirks and hilarity that ensues from time traveling. So yeah, October 6th when that comes out. So seems like it's gonna be a very solid Halloween season for across all the streamers. If you wanna, there's gonna be tons of stuff to check out. So also this week we got some news about the Lando Star Wars series that was going to be a Disney Plus show. Now apparently it's a movie. It's going to be a theatrical movie hitting theaters sometime in the near future. Stephen Glover, who is Donald Glover's brother, who's writing the TV show / now movie with him, apparently he broke the news this week that now it's going to turn into a movie.
I thought he broke the. Didn't he break the news that he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna rewriting it," and I'm like, "Wait, what?"
They replaced because Justin Simeon, who just directed Haunted Mansion, was writing it, and then Donald Glover and his brother Steven replaced him, and they're basically they were writing a new version of the show. But now the show has turned into a movie, which I feel like I think that's happened like once or twice before, but like not really too frequently. Where like a streaming show or a show that was going to be streaming turns into like a actual theatrical release.
Well, didn't it was like we heard more of the reversal where it's a movie then becomes a show, like
Yeah.
Iron Man, like whatever that War one was gonna be,
Armor
like War
Wars,
Machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like gonna be a movie, then they made into
Yep.
a show.
Yep.
So this is interesting that it's gonna be a show that becomes a movie. I think that's because like the writer's strike. There's no way that was like what they wanted first. They're just like, fuck, we need to make a movie.
This is what the main reason is, like, oh yeah, the strike, because of the strike, like like it's easier to kind of like try to make it into a movie than a TV show, or like, they'll get to like out sooner after like as soon as the strike's over, they can like start working on like the movie. But yeah, still no like word on like the plot or anything. We just know it's gonna be young Lando from that we saw in Solo is gonna be doing something in the pre main trilogy Star Wars universe. So yeah, who knows? We'll have to keep an eye on that and see further news of that as it comes out. And then we also got some news from Netflix. One Piece, the live action anime adaptation, is renewed for a second season. It's been a super strong show for Netflix. #1 for the last 2 weeks on the service. 38 million views so far. I think also like very good like critical reviews and mostly positive like fan reaction. So
Have you watched it yet?
I haven't seen it yet. No, have you seen anything of it yet?
Not really. I watched the anime, so
Mhm.
like I'm not far off from seeing it. I know they try to rush certain things, so but like it's true to the beat of the like first season.
Mhm.
They condensed the episodes just because like One Piece is so goddamn long. Like I think it's like like 400 something episodes. I think almost 5. I think at this point.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. It's like The Simpsons.
Yeah.
At least the manga is. I don't know if the anime is up to that, but uh, yeah, I know it's very like people were really worried because like Cowboy Bebop was the last one and like how terrible that one
Well,
was.
I mean, yeah, and then like Netflix also did like the like by all accounts terrible Death Note like live action movie, and then yeah, Cowboy Bebop was also very not well received and canceled quickly. So yeah, they finally Netflix finally has a live action anime adaptation that's a hit.
And it's like what they did, not just they imported it from Japan like they did with Rurouni Kenshin.
hmm Now we gotta see how Avatar: The Last Airbender does the live action version of that. That's probably the next big similar kind of show that they're betting things on. But, and then also like who knows when season 2 is gonna drop because they can't write it right now, obviously. So and then last bit of news for this week is that we found out that Universal is going to be working on adapting Murder She Wrote into a movie. So the classic mid 80s to mid 90s murder mystery show starring Angela Lansbury is becoming a movie.
I'm wondering if it's gonna be like a young, sexy Angela, like who the writer is, or are they gonna make it like an older woman
That
too?
they're like Perry Mason it, be like super early career Jessica Fletcher, like
Yeah, yeah. And then
I,
are they gonna
I
go with it where that she originally was like a crime solver or
oh
more of a
god,
fantasy like writer?
I feel like
Is
if you
isn't okay? Because like I've seen like different versions where the murder she solved is all in her head, or the murder she solved is like real.
well, she wrote mystery novels. She was an author, and then she just happened to like end up like stumbling onto like murders everywhere
Real
and,
murders,
helping
yeah.
and helping solve them. Yeah.
So I mean, is they gonna take place in like that time frame where she's just a writer and then trying to see if she has what it takes to solve murders, or sort of in her later years where she just sort of stumbles into like, you know,
Yeah.
solving
I feel I
things.
feel I feel like you gotta have an older actress starring in it because that was kind of like the appeal too was like she's like so unassuming of like she can solve murders and it's like yeah she like she's super good at it but you wouldn't like think that looking at her but she's like because she's just like this like unassuming
Sweet
author.
old lady,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And I was trying to rack my brain like who could star and I couldn't really think of anybody.
Helen Mirren.
Oh, Helen Mirren.
Helen Mirren, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good
Judy
choice.
Dench.
Yeah.
You got
Maybe
any picks?
well, maybe like Margot Martindale. Although I don't know if she's like too like because that'd be kind of like it'd be more like a like she'd have like just she'd be like a southern Jessica Fletcher.
Kathy Bates.
Yeah. Well, Kathy Bates is Columbo or Matlock.
Oh yeah, I forgot that. She's just gonna be all of them. She'd be Columbo, Matlock, or she wrote, and then all the
Yeah.
Golden Girls.
hmm But yeah, I think you definitely have to if you want to like maintain like the appeal of like the original show, you have to find like an older actress and have them star in
Sweet
it.
older actress.
Yeah.
Unless we're gonna do something crazy and like kind of sexify
Yeah.
the image.
Yeah. We can't Riverdale it. You can't Riverdale and have it. It's like young sexy Jessica Fletcher like out there like beating
No,
people
not
up
even.
and
It's like you need a hot older lady, and then it's like Pamela Anderson is. You're like, oh,
then she's like punching people and like getting into shootouts and what I mean, it's like this
yeah.
this is not Murder She Wrote.
And then she's kind of, no, it's like murder I wrote. That's what she's gonna say at the end, like catchphrase. And
Yeah.
then the commercial's gonna be like, "This isn't your grandma's murder she wrote" or some bullshit like that.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, we're in a murder mystery, renaissance right now. We got Ryan, all stuff Ryan Johnson's doing. We got the Kenneth Branagh Perot movies. We got a bunch of other like murder mysteries happening. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on it and see what this Murder She Wrote take is. No release date or any sort of plot details or anything about it. It's literally just like they got the rights to Murder She Wrote. They're gonna make a movie.
Are they trying to be like a timeline? I don't like. Is someone coming after that? I'm wondering, like, they're trying to get it out the door. Like, did they? I just like they just secured the rights and like they're not trying to beat anyone to market.
Yeah, I guess I'm assuming they're probably just like, oh, murder mysteries are hot right now. Yeah, Poker Face and Knives Out and the Kenneth Branagh's movies. Like, what murder mystery stuff can we like tap into that's like an IP? So like, oh, Murder She Wrote. Okay. But yeah, we'll have to see keep an eye on it, see what happens when that as it develops. But that's it for news this week. So I jump into show and tell. And Chris, you finally saw one of the biggest disasters of the summer, at least financially, The Flash.
Oof, boy, did I!
And also arguably, movie quality wise, I mean, I would say mixed bag at best. This describes The Flash. If you're being generous.
If you're being generous, yes.
Mm-hmm.
If you think that the Flash movie wasn't half baked, let me tell you, this movie it starts strong. Like it starts as if you've seen other things. Like if like you can't watch this Flash try to get like like what's the Flash about? It's like very quick synopsis of why Barry's the Flash, why Barry needs to be there for his dad's trial. What's up with Bruce Wayne taking a sweet time to like decode that footage, and then Barry having his like I don't know like spectrum moments in front of Iris, and then she is just so turned on by that.
Yeah. And they went to high school
weird.
together, I think, or college.
I don't know. Barry's also like the oldest 20-year-old I've seen. Because I'm trying to do the math how old he is. I'm like,
yeah,
is he 25? 20? He's at least 21 because he drinks in this one.
Well, I mean, I think he graduated from college and he's working at the forensic lab, right? But is he just an intern, or is he actually like a forensic scientist?
I don't know. So like in his alternate universe, he would be 18. I think he was interning in college in Star Lab.
Yeah. Well, at CPD because he was like, because he went into forensics because he wanted to like get the knowledge to like help his dad eventually to like solve the murder.
Gotcha. And he's supposed to be like a freshman in high school. So they like this like freshman intern late at night with all those chemicals, no supervisor. And like, let's break down the movie. So Flash, present day Flash, wants to change the past just because he thinks he can go back and do like a butterfly effect. And that's like the gimmick. It's like, okay, I will alter the past in a way that I think will have no impact to anything. Turns out, big impact to everything. The simplest gesture, big impact. So, okay. Then, he ends up in a alternate future or alternate path, I guess, that he doesn't see all the way through just because another monster, like some time monster, shows up and kicks him out of the bubble.
The Chrono Bowl. That's what they call it. Yeah.
Right. And instead of, I don't know, getting back in that bowl or going to the past, he sort of just hangs out in this alternate past future. Because it's not his future, it's just his alternate past.
Well, it's 2013. Like, so it's like slightly in the past, because like I think the beginning of the movie is like, present day, like 2023, or like the DC universe, like present day, quote unquote, and then like, yeah, he's trying to get back all the way to the past, and then it gets like knocked into like 2013, and then, but it's like an alternate
Right.
2013.
Alternate 2013. So he's in a alternate 2013 that he doesn't know is an alternate yet, because it's like the
Yeah.
halfway point of the movie they sort of explain that it's an alternate. So
The days before the climax of Man of Steel.
well, it's not
But
even the climax, because it's sort of just days before, and I guess like he forgot all this info, but he just lives it up this day, because it's sort of like oh no, oh yeah, like it just keeps going.
mhm.
But yeah, I didn't mind that, because up to this point the movie didn't explain a lot, and it's actually pretty like fine. Like the movie falls apart when it tries to like make sense of things. For example, in this future alternate universe past, Bruce Wayne is Michael Keaton, but it's a version of Michael Keaton Batman. I don't think it's the Tim Burton Batman, right?
No, I mean, he's got all the like catchphrases and gadgets and costumes of that version. But I don't know if it's exactly as like, yeah, I don't think it's like, yeah, I don't think if he like fought the Joker, like Jack Nicholson Joker
No, he
or anything
did.
like
In
that.
this version, there is a Joker,
Yeah.
and he's dead.
Hmm.
And I guess Batman got everything he wanted, and then now he's just like lonely and like a crazy, like the like, I don't know what's up with Bruce Wayne as his default, like, I've given up on crime fighting, so I grow like the depression beard and don't cut my hair, like
Yeah.
just like Batman Begins. Or
Mhm.
Batman Dark Knight Returns. Or
And there's no other Justice League people. There's no Cyborg, there's no Aquaman, there's no Wonder Woman, there's no Superman.
no, Cyborg's having the best version. He has his whole body, he's got his private sports
Yeah,
career,
yeah.
he's
Yeah,
fine.
Victor Stone is like, this is like his perfect universe. Like he's good. Like,
But apparently there's like no heroes
no,
besides Batman, who's real. Like he's the only hero in this universe, I guess.
yeah.
So the big gimmick though is that Barry messed up the timeline. His one gesture had all these consequences that Batman points out.
Yeah, as
And
always, like if you watch the CW show, that was like literally every other episode was Barry fucks up the timeline.
and then they make a point saying like in every universe there's always like certain constants. So it's like there's always a Batman, there's always like a super meta human somewhere. It turns out it's Kara. And I guess Zod always shows up no matter what.
Maybe, yeah. This movie didn't benefit at all from like coming out post Spider-Verse, where they had like the canon event stuff that was so well done in Spider-Verse, and then this is just like the same. It's trying to do the exact like kind of the same things, and it's like way more sloppy and not thought out as well.
It's not thought out. It's not sloppy. Like I feel like if this movie came out way early, like
Well, it was supposed to. I mean, it was supposed to come out in like 2018 originally.
I'm talking about even earlier than that. If this movie came out in 2017, this would have
Yeah.
been different. Like, but because we've seen so much time travel, like everything everywhere all at once, like
multiverse, yeah.
It's normalized multiverse to a degree where it's like me and you, I think, are used to it as like comic fans and video game fans. Like there are multi-universes that I get. You know, it's sort of like I think Bioshock Infinite did a really good job explaining certain things, and then like what's your constants and variable. And then this is sort of like they do it too, and it makes sense in any kind of like I don't know like what kind of meta science.
Well, they also gotta explain like they gotta explain the multiverse to, but it's like we've seen.
Well, Rick and Morty did a really good job of it. You know,
four or five movies like before this that had the multiverse in it, so like audiences like know what the multiverse is now. but they
Yeah,
still have
we're
to do like
well versed.
they still have to do like the like I think we were talking about before like the spaghetti. Michael Keaton's like explaining it with the spaghetti, where it's not a straight line. It's also like all this like jumbles of like noodles flopping over each other, and that's the multiverse.
Which I'm fine with. I didn't mind that analogy, and it's like because of that, it's like you can have a alternate future and alternate past, so it doesn't matter what you did, what you thought. It just jumbled. So and
Yeah,
plus, with Barry being outside of that, it makes sense as he doesn't belong because he jumped to another universe. So fine, you didn't time travel technically. You technically universe jumped.
yeah, and it's everything before that point and after that point is different.
Right.
So
Which I didn't mind. Like it was a good way to explain it. I just liked it maybe way more because Michael Keaton said it. But for me, this movie is a reason just to watch Michael Keaton. Nothing really else. But yeah, the movie like sort of hypes up this big thing that just feels very underbaked with just four people doing it.
Mhm.
Two of them being double Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
And
That's your Justice League for this alternate universe Justice League.
yeah. You get two Ezra Miller, a Supergirl who just figured out like everything, and
Oh man, her like I hate humanity. Oh, I'll fight for humanity. Like that was so
so fast.
rushed. Yeah, she
I felt
flies
like
like
if I went to the bathroom and came back, I wouldn't have missed anything.
yeah, she flies off. She sees one thing of like Zod like murdering people, and she's like, okay, I'll help humanity. Like
But didn't she spend like
decades.
years
Yeah,
in
locked in like
like
a
this
Russian.
Russian
Yeah,
prison?
yeah.
Which I guess like the Russians were able to find technology to house a Kryptonian.
Yeah. Well, it's weird that they didn't do anything of like Red Sun or I don't like even like the Supergirl like TV show did like Red Daughter or Red yeah like where they had like a an alternate version of car that crashed in like Russia and became like a Soviet like
Mm-hmm.
agents. You think they would try to like do that, but they're just like no, we'll just hold her in this container for like decades.
And then good thing she spoke English
Yeah.
and kind of knew modern colloquialisms and understood like Earth like standard. I
Mhm.
don't know. The one part that was also kind of bizarre was when Barry loses his powers, which is fine because in Flashpoint, the comic, that happens, and then he
Mhm.
gains it back, which is fine because that's how it happens in the series,
Mhm.
and that makes sense. Like, oh, I need my powers back. But what if he didn't? What happens to him? Like, because then wouldn't that mean that in some like I don't know. I'm thinking too deep about that because the movie sort of addresses that and then doesn't. But this is what you get when you have two Barrys at the same time. So him getting his powers back was fine. Watching Supergirl just scoop him up and just be like, I know what to do. It's like, wait, how?
Yeah. Mhm.
Then I didn't mind the like the silliness at times when like other Barry makes his own Flash suit and then it's like the pause and then like the sound effects change. Like I didn't mind that
Mhm.
because it's like you need that in a movie that takes itself a little too serious at times, or sort of just introduces high concepts and there's just no breathing room. But then when they show concepts, it's like I would rather not see it because then the time bubble like it gets progressively uglier. Like the graphics, the like obvious CGI work that is just like super terrible. I'm thinking back. Do you remember the part where Barry sticks his head out and it's just a floating head
Yeah,
in like
I think the honest trailer someone has like brought it up like why is that a weird trend now? Why is it like people stick their head like a floating head is like a trend? Like there was like Thor: Love and Thunder last year, and then Spider Verse like the Spot like sticks his head out into like the Venom verse, and then like this movie.
I don't know, people floating heads are so in right now.
Yeah,
So that was sort of distracting. Like it I thought like that was the worst of it, but then
the,
as they
P-
keep using the bubble, it's just like
yeah,
gets
and
uglier and uglier looking.
yeah the PS3 graphics like of like the past like DCEU events, like you see like Henry Cavill Superman fighting the Justice League, but it's like this like weird horribly rendered version of it. Which apparently,
didn't they have footage of that? Why is it like double rendered?
yeah, it's weird they didn't. Yeah, they didn't like somehow figure out just like incorporate like live action footage. Don't do like this like weird CG like
You know,
and like they like
they did that in Back to the Future, and that movie, like Back to the Future 2, and they couldn't figure it out for this.
yeah, or I mean even just like project like just scenes like just have scenes from the movies like flash past him as he runs back in the past or something. That's a
Yeah,
classic like
well,
time travel thing.
I don't know why they like had to re-render like the whole scene in CGI. Like if you told me a fan made that, I'm like, oh, that's not bad for fan work. But if you're telling me like
And it's like
Warner Brothers made that,
and it's this weird like arena or like theater that it's like the like it's like infinitely stretching back but version of the same events.
yeah, it's like a kaleidoscope. I get like that makes sense of like sort of time it folds in on itself because there's no boundary, it's endless, so it comes
Yeah.
around again.
Mm-hmm.
That I understand is like sort of what they're trying to go for. So I understand the art direction. It didn't bother me the arena because it was like, okay, so if you're in your time bubble, everything around you appears circular because you're sort of it's not flat, you know, it's supposed to
Well,
be like
it's cool like concept, but then yeah, just the way it was implemented with like the the graphics and stuff is just like
it gets way worse when they introduce the multiverse bubbles from like the
that
spheres. I was like, what is this?
that's when like in my review, and I think when I talked about it when I saw it in theaters, when I talked like this movie just turns into like just superhero sludge at the end. It's like yeah, like it's such empty fan service of just like here, hey, you remember Adam West? Remember Christopher Reeves? They're here. Look, clap for them.
I was so dumbstruck. I was like, wow, that's how they're representing it? Orbs? Just floating orbs?
And it's literally it has nothing to do with the plot. I mean, it's just like whatever Barry is doing is like other Barry is doing is like causing them to like collapse the multiverse. But it's not. They don't do anything cool with it of like having like some of these characters like come and like help them or like enter the multi. Like it's like they're fusing so now like Christopher Reeve Superman shows up in this universe. Because like it's just like they're in their own. It's like they're in a bubble waving at them as they like run past them. It's just like,
Yeah. It's like, bye, Blur Man, and whatever
Yeah.
universe that is. I did like, though, there was something weird. I was like, there was like, Jay Garrett cameo
yes. Mm-hmm.
where he's also running in his own bubble.
Yeah.
I was like, what are they going to explain that? Like,
Well,
and they just don't.
That was the weird thing too, is that there was only like one bubble for like an alternate Flash, and then the rest of it was all Superman and Batman like alternates.
I would have liked it basically if every Flash in every that universe is doing it at the same time, and it's like it's colliding or something. Kind of like Spider-Verse kind of does that, where it's like certain Spider-Men are like don't have multiverse, so they don't bother with them, but then the ones that do,
Yeah.
they get recruited because they're aware of the multi-universe. So it's like, hey,
Yeah. Have a Grant Gustin cameo. Have like a like John Wesley Shipp cameo. Like do something.
Yeah, do something. Hell, even bring back the Flash TV, the other, what's his guy's name?
That's the same. Grant Gustin. Like have him just show
Oh,
up.
Gang Grumps, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like,
Because
or even just make one up. It doesn't matter, you know. Like it's just the idea of multi flashes, or even fucking like Speedy or something, or not Speedy, Impulse.
And then do something with the multiverse, not just have them like, oh no, the bubbles of the multiverse. Like
yes, the flying bubbles that.
So if you're gonna have like these like characters show up, like have them do something, like
or even just have like a picture. Then don't even bother with like a full. Don't animate it. Don't waste the money.
Yeah. Or pay Nicolas Cage whatever it takes to like have him be actually like appear in the movie in live action and like do something.
Yeah. So weird.
Yeah. I wonder how many people were just like so baffled by that Nicolas Cage Superman, because because obviously like fans like us, we were like very aware of like the like Lost Superman movie, and we saw the documentary and everything, but like
we funded that movie.
Yeah, if we funded, yeah, but yeah, but a normal person seeing this movie, you're just like, wait, Nicolas Cage is Superman? What?
Yeah, no, it's not common to know that. So
Mhm.
super
And then
weird.
and then nothing comes from it. It's because it's like, oh, they're colliding, and then they like, they stop Evil Barry or evil, like this, and then like they just like they just float back the way they came. It's like, bye, like,
That's cool. Bye bye.
yeah. I
So
mean, like, also, like, what if Barry went, like, like, visited, like, just like started jumping into like those other universes or something, or like they like collide, and then you have like, like, it's like, oh, the universe is black and white because like the like classic like 30s Batman slash Smash, like the like George Reed's Superman universe smashes them, now it's black and white or whatever. Like,
Zach, you sound crazy. You're making too much sense.
yeah, it's such a weird, like, lack of lack of ambition, or just like lack of, like,
Follow through.
yeah, it's just so empty fan service of just like, it's like regular media when they talk about like, oh, I saw it and I clapped, like that's all that was.
So there's definitely like problems with this. I'm not denying it. I thought maybe like, oh, is it just like very like, nitpicky critic thing, or it's like, legit reasons. And then when I watched it, like this movie has legit problems.
Yeah, there's huge issues like plot wise, and then just idea wise, and it raises a lot of questions of
Way more questions
why things
than
are
like,
happening.
and it's like it went too big scope too fast, and then not enough like focus on why. Like why are we even here? And then it's like, oh, we have a villain. It's like, do you?
There's so many questions about like what Barry chooses to like do to like like you know change things. Like, he doesn't try to figure out, like, he could like go and see exactly who killed his mother, and then like be like, hey, this guy is, and then find that guy and stop them before it happens. But
Yeah,
then he
he could
just
have just done that.
but then he just moves, he just puts a tomato can in his mom's shopping cart, and then afterwards, the end, he still doesn't do it. He just he puts the tomatoes on a higher shelf, and then still like allows his dad to like like his mom to get murdered. Like, you could see who did it, Barry. Like, you could go to the exact time, or like right before that, like freeze time and see who did it and like stop them. Like,
So, but like, what? Okay, imagine if he did the tomato can, his dad left, and then it's like, wouldn't the killer just kill both of them?
probably, yeah.
It's not like he prevented the murderer. He just prevented his dad from going out. Like the killer would have just been like, "Hey, I've got two knives or whatever." Like we'll never know who killed his mom. Like it's like he
Yeah,
didn't solve the purpose. He solved like he put a band-aid on it. It's like
and
he
they don't
treated the symptoms, not the problem. I was
even.
like, wait, what?
And yeah, not even a hint of Reverse Flash, or even like the Evil Barry variant. Like, yeah, just no, there's no explanation or like attempt to like set anything up or do anything. Just like, oh no, just some mystery random guy showed up and murdered Barry's mom. That was it.
But then it's like, is that guy still out there?
Probably.
I
And
mean,
they also they never catch him either. Like, they just exonerate Barry's dad, but they still have no idea who killed his mom.
the next day in the news is like, wait a minute, there's like this murderer in this like town of Toronto.
Yeah, Central City. Like,
Is it Central City?
it's Central City.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely just like, I as I'm seeing it as on Max, I'm fine with it. If I saw this in theaters, I'd be a little upset.
Hmm.
All right, I think that's enough
Yeah,
about the Flash because we're putting way more thought than like the producers did.
yeah. I definitely, if you go to read my review on the site, like, I definitely said it. It's a very mixed bag. Like, there's some fun stuff about it, but like by the end, it's just like a sludge of just horrible special effects and weird empty fan service, and not no conclusion really. So it's definitely a victim of like they were like they didn't really do anything to like course correct of like, oh, nothing about this movie is gonna like get wrapped up or like get a sequel because of rebooting the universe. So that also factors into of like nothing in this movie matters.
Yeah, there's it like doesn't affect another movie. It doesn't affect.
You'll
I don't
never
need to
get
see Blue Beetle. I'll never have to see like anything related.
you'll never get any resolution for anything that happened in this movie. Like there's gonna be a new Flash in like probably 5-10 years, and then yeah. So it's this whole year of DC movies has just been like weird. It's like a lame duck franchise. Like I don't think I've ever seen this level of like a lame duck franchise where like none of these movies matter and people don't care or are going to see them because they know it doesn't matter. But yeah, like mentioned at the top of the show though, like we'll have to see with Aquaman. Like, are people still gonna come out and see Aquaman because it's Jason Momoa? They like the first one. Who knows?
Who knows? That's kind of like the slogan.
Yeah. But yeah, anything else? Anything else, Chris?
Yeah. I'll talk about it briefly, just because it's really confusing to talk about too. I saw Amazon Prime's The Devil Hour, the TV show, or The Devil's
Okay.
Hour. It came out last year. It had okay ratings. It just like
yeah. I remember seeing like the trailer for this. It's like the Peter Capaldi show.
yeah. So it's about like people that sort of get visions between 3 and 4, and they call that the Devil's Hour because like if you have like nightmares between that, it's just like you're getting some weird like kind of like okay. This was like not a good follow-up to watch right after The Flash, because this does it better in the sense like the show, the first episode, if you watch the trailer, and then you watch the first episode, like, okay, based on your assumptions, Zach, like you've seen the trailer, right? Do you know enough about it to like kind of explain what you think the show is about?
It's been so long. I saw the trailer when it came out, and then I didn't see the show, and I haven't seen the trailer like probably when this come out, like 2 years, a year ago. Yeah, I haven't seen anything about it in a year, so I've totally forgot the trailer. I basically have no knowledge of it. So
okay, basically, the show follows. Okay, so I'm gonna prepare myself. So based on the trailer, you would think the show is about like a psycho killer, kind of like a Hannibal Lecter. He's like a prison guy who is toying with an investigator, and they're trying to find out what he knows and like why he knows it, or like how he can help them explain something. Then when you watch the show, you realize this can go in a bunch of different directions. Where is it supernatural? Is it sci-fi? Is it like high sci-fi where it's like a simulation? Is it sci-fi like it's a multi-universe? Is it sci-fi like it's a government experiment gone wrong? We have no goddamn idea. Like, and the show's gonna tease that for like 4 out of the 6 episodes. And so what happens is, and this is like sort of like plot A, it's about this mother and her child. Her child has like some sort of like autism, but it's not like diagnosed as autism because the kid is like emotionally like stunted, but he's intelligent, but he's just like very hard to deal with because he has weird habits, and then his mannerism is cold. And his mom is trying her best to deal with this. And her husband and the boy's father straight up just left the family. He was just like, this is too much for me. Our kid's too fucking weird. I'm out. And just moved out. And then lives his like bachelor life. But one day, the kid goes missing. And before that, the mother was having visions of like just like premonitions and things. And the kid leading up to this event was saying things that sort of are disjointed. So he would just turn to her randomly and be like, "The car goes right," and then like looks away, and then that's it. And it's shot like a horror movie, so you can't tell like what's up with that. And on top of that, there's like strange sightings in her house. Like she'll think someone's in the room and not be there, and then like she'll like close a door, leave the room through another door, and then come back and that door is open and there's no one home. So it's like, who did that? So like it's just like, what's this show? I was like wondering, like the term "the devil's out." Like, oh shit, like is it supernatural? I have no idea. But then Peter Capelli shows up like later on in the series. Like you think he's gonna be there in the first episode? He's not. Like he's later in the series. And like each episode's an hour, so it's like a whole movie. So when he shows up, you're like, okay, finally. And then he is even he's cryptic in like another way where he gives you way too much detail, but they don't make any sense. Because he keeps he's kind of like a Doc Brown character where he shows up and he's like, hey, like this wasn't supposed to happen. Like you're not supposed to be here. Like where am I? And then sometimes he can predict when things are going to happen. So he says and then the show doesn't help also is that some parts the scenes are told from the future, like Pat and then like it's like randomly it'll jump to the future about events that haven't happened yet, where they're talking in that prison room, like an interrogation chamber, and you can see like something's happened, but when they tell that part of the story, they don't tell you exactly. It's sort of like, hey, like he sort of he'll like explain things that happened in the past, and the show episode follow that, like that structure. So like he knows how. It's like they don't explain how he knows that. It's sort of him going, oh, like he sort of plays around. It's like, oh, you're probably wondering why I know that, and you're like, oh, okay, And so, and he says like he's sort of like a time traveler, and he said something kind of cryptic where it's like, I am a traveler and a prophet and a madman. So it's like, shit, like it's like, which one are you yet? So the show's like kind of fun. Like it plays around with the tension really well. It's shot beautifully. Like they definitely like put a lot of production money into making this feel very atmospheric. It sort of feels like True Detective at times because the B story is like these pair of detectives. You have one guy who's sort of like trying to prove himself, and then you have like the veteran detective who has seen it all and is like just like, I don't know, like people suck. He's kind of like jaded from all these years. So uh they're trying to figure out what's going on. They're trying to stop the single mom from like getting too much involved into like investigating her own thing, but she's able to see sort of like find like from her vision, she's able to like find clues to certain things. So they don't quite believe her of why she knows this. She doesn't know what's going on, but every night for the past how many years, like she says she's been having these visions that like since she's been young, like the visions get more and more like vivid. Um and then it's like she has visions of her like family. So there's like a hint that maybe it's like a family thing between what she's going through. Also, as a bonus, there's like a C plot where her mom also kind of has like a similar pattern to her. So it's like something happened to her that she does because then she can't tell reality. But also they can't think her mom has Alzheimer's. So like it's sort of like she sort of saying things that are like out of time and place, and that makes her confused of where she's at, like almost like a time traveler's wife, or the time traveler's wife thing. And so yeah, it's sort of like it's a lot of fun concepts, and it's like, okay, I still can't tell where this is coming from, but this is still a lot better than the Flash, like in terms of coherent confusion, because it's very vague. It's very dramatic. It's definitely something that when you watch it all together, when it's told, it would be good. Now, here's the thing. I started this just because it finally dawned on me to watch this. The problem is that this is like supposed to have 2 more seasons. So if they never fucking get to them, it is
Yeah, I
not
don't.
worth to watch the first season.
I have not seen any word about any more seasons of it.
Well, they said this did well enough last November
Was this
that
a
they were.
was this a BBC thing that like Amazon licensed? Like, is there more? Is like BBC, or is it just like a fully like Prime Video like Amazon original?
I think it's an Amazon original. Like I'm looking on the Wikipedia. It's a
Yeah.
British drama made by this guy, executive produced by another guy through his production company, Hearts Film.
What's Stephen Moffat, who did Doctor Who? So
Oh,
that
okay.
he's like one of the main guys behind it.
Okay, so like they're vetted. But yeah, like I swear to God, if they just don't import the rest. Yeah, the production company is technically Hartford Film, so they can always ship it to someone else if Amazon decides, nah, let's not like release it through that, and like we'll just make it like a Tubi fucking thing.
Hmm.
That's the thing. My only warning is that you can't like it sets up such a grand story that even I think I'm on episode 4 or 5 I'm on, and it's like even if we get to like a conclusion, it's not going to be enough. Like it's not
Hmm.
going to tell one coherent plot because there's so much that they still don't explain. And I bet you they're going to do something else at the end of the season finale where it's like, oh, you thought that was like the truth, and you're like, whoa. Then it's like fucking something crazy. Uh, Something similar to that is ever watched? I think I talked about it last year. The TV series Dark. It was on
Hmm.
Amazon.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Well, that
that
was
was one of those
Netflix.
things
That was a
where
Netflix show.
that was Netflix, right? That has a good payoff when it's that also does multiverse, that does time travel, that does sort of like cause and effect and constants and variables. And that's a show like if at any point they ran out of money and couldn't do the next season or anything, you just be like, fuck the show. Don't even watch. I would be like, don't even watch it because like you can't even. It's not a good pause state and just be like, that's it. Like, that's all you get. And it's like, someone needs to write a book, someone needs to make a comic, because you just can't leave us hanging like that. So, that's my recommendation. If you want to join this gamble, start watching it with me.
Hmm.
Get in on fucking time travel, fucking multiverse shows
Oh,
that
it was renewed for 3 seasons, but
I
I
it
never,
just has not gone to production.
yeah, I've not seen any sort of release date or like they haven't said anything about when when a second season is gonna debut.
Yeah, so that's why I'm stuck in the whole like, what now?
Hmm.
Where do we go from here? So I'm gonna try to finish it just to finish it, but if they just go, oh, sorry, something happened, like I'm gonna be like, hey, don't watch this show. It
Yeah,
makes you invest way too much time, and like you get attached to so many characters, and you're like, I wonder what's gonna happen next. It's so fucking cryptic.
there needs to be like a website or something where it tells you like if a show got canceled, there needs to be like a website that tells you like is it still worth watching? Like does it end in like a cliffhanger or does it like is it satisfying to watch it even if it's like
Doesn't get to
canceled
the
or
end. Like
yeah.
if it doesn't achieve its original premise, is it good enough to at least get you a certain point?
Hmm.
Like Blockbuster, I would say is a show that you can finish, and then because it got canceled, I didn't give a shit. Even though that sort of ends on a cliffhanger, and I was like, I don't give a fuck. But at least like it got to the end.
Yeah.
This I'll be mad if they never renew. I'll just be like, are you kidding me?
What's that?
It's sort of like watching a magic trick, and then it's like, well, magic's real. Bye, and you're like, wait, what?
Hmm.
So yeah, it's another like mind like boggle show that I enjoy, and definitely like you could see like that the creators put more time and effort to set up good plot points and pay off enough. Where the Flash just fucking didn't do any of that.
Hmm.
So as I say, like it kind of made me mad. I'm like, God damn it! Like this did way better. So anyway, what about you, Zach? What have you been watching?
So I saw a couple things. So I saw The Great Escape, the 1963 classic. It was one of my last Netflix DVD deliveries because I think there's like 2 more weeks and then Netflix DVD is done. I gotta see if I'm gonna get like the I don't know if you heard, they're doing like this crazy promotion where you could sign up on like, and then you might possibly get like 10 discs at once at the end for like the last delivery. They might just or I think it was like up to 10, but you might not get that. It's like this like random like maybe you'll get like all the movies in your queue that are left. Who knows? We don't care. But yeah, I got The Great Escape from Netflix on DVD. I think
Wait,
it's
Zach, do you get better chances if you keep renting more movies, or it's like
I
you
think
just randomly?
they just said like, hey, go to this link and sign your account up for this the giveaway, and then you might possibly for like one of your last deliveries we might send you up to 10 discs.
Oh, the last one might be okay.
Yeah.
Not like, hey, congratulations, we ship 10 disc in this thing.
And it's also just like we don't really care if you send them back either. So like it's like congratulations, you have like 10
Gotcha.
10 random Netflix discs now. But yeah, I did get the Great Escape. I sent it back, so they had the Great Escape back in their library. But yeah, I'd never seen the whole thing. I've only seen basically the only thing the Great Escape I've seen is the like Steve McQueen motorcycle jump or motorcycle sequence, and then most of the rest of the movie was like a mystery kind of like I didn't really know what else went on with it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a very like it's 3 hours long, but there's so much like fun stuff going on, so much interesting stuff going on that it flies by. It doesn't feel like 3 hours long at all. And yes, just so many like just the cast is insane. Like Steve McQueen obviously, and then James Garner and Richard Attenborough and Charles Bronson and Donald Pleasance and James Coburn. Just like tons of like awesome actors in it. And yet, and just the like all the like interesting and like really like clever ways like they come up with to like break out of this German Nazi prison camp of like repurposing things around the camp to like turn into like stakes and like pickaxes and carts and
the innovation of it is pretty cool.
And then like Donald Pleasance is like the forger, so he's like getting like all these like documents smuggled in like somehow like printing them and like getting like, all these documents, and like they have to turn all their like military outfits into like civilian outfits. There's like a guy who's like the tailor who's like turning like this like U.S. Army jacket into like a civilian like suit jacket, like coming up with dyes, like all that stuff is so much fun. And then like all different interesting characters, like Charles Bronson is like their main digger, like tunnel digger guy, but then you find out he's like claustrophobic.
Claustrophobic. That's a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used to watch Great Escape a lot because it's one of those things where when I was a kid, I never saw it all the way through until like years later, just because like it's 3 hours long. It's longer on TV with like commercials.
Yeah. But and also just like some great tension. Like there's like the one sequence where they make it to the end, and then they're gonna that's the night they're gonna escape, and then they find out we're like 20 feet from like the forest we were wanted to be in, so they wouldn't see us. So the whole sequence like Steve McQueen has to like run into the forest, like pull a string to like tell them when it's like safe to go, and the guards like walking past like constantly. And I will say, hot take, I don't know if the motorcycle jump like stunt is like as good as like it's been like heralded to be. Like it's still impressive, but like the way it's shot, it's shot weirdly where it's like really far away, so you don't really get like a good like like close up or like wide shot of like the motorcycle jump. It's like this really weird like it's like you're standing like on a hill like miles away watching this motorcycle jump over this like barbed wire fence.
It's like if you had to watch like a stunt show about a motorcycle jump, this is the distance you would see from like the like
in the stands.
Yeah.
It's not cinematic at all. Like I don't know. It's such a.
I think at the time that was like blown away.
At the time, yeah, and the fact that like they jumped this like that motorcycle too like was like it's not like a specially designed motorcycle. That's just like it's like a fucking Harley they're jumping over like a barbed wire fence, like a fake barbed wire fence. So it's not like a light special moving motorcycle. It's like this like bulky giant like super heavy. So just the fact they jumped that was impressive. But yeah, I mean just the actual like jump is I don't think is that impressive. It's definitely not as impressive like Bullet, like Steve, like the cartridge in Bullet is still like insane and like one of the best like stunts of all time. This is like fine. I don't know if it like warrants like the like reverence it has.
I think it's also like if you think about I think it's based on partial true story.
It's loosely based on like an actual escape, and like a bunch of the characters are like amalgamations of like actual people and actual prisoners, but they're like kind of like it's like, oh, Steve McQueen's actually like three different guys that we like, combined into one guy to like for the movie. He's based on like three different guys, and then like uh they got way more help from outside than they portrayed in the movie. Like they actually got like help from like Germans who were like anti-Nazi, that smuggled stuff in for them, and there was guards at the base who were like also anti-Nazi. They were just like regular German citizen like, guards, and they were like, "We'll help you guys like get stuff in if you want to eat it." So, which they don't really go into at all. The movie is basically just like, "Oh yeah, these guys did everything themselves in this camp. They got everything they needed like in the camp. They didn't get any sort of outside help. They did it all
Yeah,
themselves."
it's definitely like a little altered just to make it
More
seem very
cinematic, yeah.
cinematic, yeah, and just plus to make the movie kind of go more, because if not, they'd explain a lot more, and this
Yeah.
movie's like
Well,
already dense.
yeah, well, I mean, the way it is, it definitely feels more like a heist movie. Like has like that fun heist movie energy of just like how are we gonna like come up with all these different solutions to get out of here. And but it's also weird. Like it has that fun energy, but then like the ending is actually kind of like downer. Where like like three of them escape. That's it.
Yeah, out of everyone,
And
then
then
the
like the rest of them
rest,
get like murdered or like gunned down or like
like I
recaptured.
think half of them get gunned down, and
Yeah, like 20 of
then
them
the
get
rest,
captured.
yeah, yeah.
And then they bring like and then like Steve McQueen like gets brought back, and then like kind of like I guess like the like kind of optimistic like ending is like he's like still like in the good
Planning the next
spirits
one.
and like yeah like we'll get out of here again. I'm ready for the next one.
And yeah, it doesn't. That's it. It's supposed to be like it's a symbolic thing where it's like never give up.
Yeah, they haven't broken his spirit yet. Like Steve McQueen will get out again or try to get out again and like
Yeah,
do
it's like the credits show up and it's just
another
like
great
Stephen
escape. Yeah,
Queen returns.
yeah. Steve McQueen will escape and will return in the Great Escape too. But yeah, it's great. I mean, it's definitely like lives up to its like reputation as like one of the best movies of all time. So definitely, if you've not seen it or seen the whole thing, check it out. I think it's on Tubi. I think it's on some other places, so it's easily like accessible on different places. And then speaking of Tubi, I also on Tubi saw a Draft House Films movie that's not really a movie. It's just like a collection of trailers. It's called Trailer War. And this is, I mean, this is like right up our alley, Chris. Like this is just like, you know how we watch like just like weird 90s and
Nonsense
80s action
trailers.
movies. This is
Mhm.
like this is the Draft House Films, Alamo Draft House, like just like curating a bunch of trailers. So it's basically just, it's like 2 hours just like absolute nonsense of like the weirdest wildest shows you never of movies you never heard of from like the 70s and 80s. And yeah, and it's just like they kind of flows through different genres. Like it starts out with like action movies, and then kind of flows into like martial arts, and then it flows into like horror, and then like weird 70s sex comedies, and then kind of like wraps up with like Thunder Cops, which is this crazy like it almost feels like a John Woo movie, but like with like supernatural elements to it. And that trailer is like insanity. If you've never seen the Thunder Cops trailer, check that out at least. And then there's also like Voyage of the Rock Aliens is in there in the trailer, and like Mitchell, like the John Baker movie. There's some Jim Kelly stuff, like Jim Kelly, like Black Samurai. The trailer for that movie's in there. It actually kicks off with this trailer for a movie called Stunt Rock, which is like a hybrid. It actually reminds me a lot of like Action USA, where it just feels like a stunt showcase. It's like less a movie, more just like we're just doing all these crazy stunts. It's like this actual like Australian stunt performer who's like starring in it. And then I guess the plot is that he's working for like a rock and roll band, but then along the way of the tour or whatever he's doing, like cars are exploding and like cars are driving off cliffs, and like he's flying off helicopters, like also like insane shit's happening. So I pretty much had to like immediately like rent that on Amazon. So I so I have Stunt Rock to watch in full. But it's definitely one of those things where like after every trailer, I was just like pausing it and then like looking on like Just Watch to see if it's like streaming anywhere.
Yeah, like it looks so good. You're like, okay, I need to know what was that.
Yeah. And a lot of them are on Tubi because Tubi is like the source for like all of this nonsense. So yeah, if you watch Trailer War, stick on Tubi. I'm sure like it seems like a lot of the movies are actually on there to watch as well. But yeah, Trailer War it's just a fun if you just want to watch like 2 hours just like incredible weird nonsense. It's definitely worth checking out. And they're also like I think a lot of them are like restored to like 4K or like super high definition. So because they all the like they're from like the 70s, 80s. They look fantastic. Like the quality of the trailers is like incredible. So like it's like Blu-ray quality of these like weird obscure trailers. So that's also like a cool selling point of that too. So yeah, trailer war on Tubi. Definitely check that out. And that's it for me this week. So we wrap things up. Definitely head over to the site. We've got all of our usual news and features. All the trailers we talked about are up there. You can watch them and see what's going on with those over there. We've got our commentary from last month. You can check out still, and then we're gonna have a commentary on Saw 2 coming up at the end of the month. So stay tuned to the site for that. And all the regular features and news and all that stuff is up there. So head over, check all that stuff out. And yeah, so for Chris, I am Zach, and we will see you next week. For more Everything Action, head to www.everythingaction.com. You can also follow us on Twitter @EVAction, on Facebook by searching for Everything Action, and follow us on Instagram @everything.action. You can also subscribe and get more episodes on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.